time for the Daily Roasters. How you doing, everybody? I think everything works. We're back up. We're going. I didn't have time to swap out my camera because I was working on something else, but hopefully it'll be worth it. You guys are awesome. Welcome. Let's all gather around, shall we? Shall we? Uh-oh. Network error. Please check your internet connection. It seems to be fine. Is anyone in? Is everyone in? Whoop, there we go. Thank you. Got nervous for a second. Yeah, no, I was dicking around with stuff. You'll see. I'm working on it. We're going to get started here in just 1 second. Shall we all gather for a moment? Slight pause after radio show today. Good stuff. I'm going to, let's see. Thing. No, back out. Now, I do have an issue with the sound effects on my Streamlabs Stream Deck, or my Stream Deck rather, or my Elgato Stream Deck, going through anything. I can't get it into OBS, and I can't get it, all I can get it is out the speakers, and that just sounds weird. So that's going to take some working on, but I want you guys to know I programmed in 4 distinct fart sounds and named them. Dry toot, wet, and oops. I need better ones, and I think I need one called shart, but we'll work on it. But hi, yeah, we'll see. So, anyways, shall we start? Because he's getting started, and God bless us. Oh, it's gonna be fun today. I can just feel it. Can't you feel it? You're just gonna feel it. Yeah. Oh boy, this is just so wrong on so many fronts. Let's see. There we go. There he is, in all of his glory. So, and I don't want to. Let me roll back a second because I don't mean to skip his intro. That's just wrong. There we go. Now we'll do it. That's fine. Hello.
Thank you very much.
You're not very welcome. Oh, his mic is turned down very low today for some reason. There we go. We'll jam that up a little bit.
Good afternoon.
He's got a little wispy hair on the side. They woke him up on the couch. It's like this big business over here on the, see that? On the other side? Not Coke nose, which is right there. Other side of his nostril, see that? But up on the other side of there, there's an interesting wispy thing going on right now. We don't know if is that like a Red Sox thing where they go, he's wearing red socks, bad mood. Like if he has one extra fender on his weird hairdo.
We continue to see a
Whoops. Why did you just stop making noise?
number of
Is that me or is that them? That can't be me. What the heck was that?
Thank you very much.
Huh. All right. Why did I all of a sudden lose audio? You crazy person. Oh, that's why. Hold on. I got to put on my monitors just so that I don't get feedback. Got it. Let's do this. All right. All right. Let's see if we get something out of there.
Good afternoon.
Just, yeah, get on with it, dude. It's your get. You do this. Why do you seem caught off guard?
We continue to see a number of positive signs
Oh, do we? You mean New York does?
that the virus has passed its peak.
No. New York is not the peak.
It's been
I'm staticky again. Son of a dog doodly bastardy bee. Ah. Let me switch mics and see if that fixes it. I've got to fix this thing. Yeah, he is a mess.
very devastating all over the world, 184 countries.
But ours is doing so much better because New York is past their peak, and as far as I'm concerned, as soon as New York passes their peak, we're all done.
Probably more. This number was as of a week ago.
What do you mean? It's up to you to update it. What do you mean probably more? This is your only job right now. Okay, all right, hold on. If it's still fuzzy, I can fix that. Hold on. I will throw into Essentials, I will throw this in. We will switch back to the Brio because I think we can. That's weird. Micro. Yeah, we'll just use the MacBook Pro microphone. See if that works. I'm sorry if it won't be. I have to update this thing and see if it'll work. Does that sound okay to you guys? Sound like it'll work for the time being, for today? A little bit? Is this clear? All right, here we go. This is so weird.
Dr. Birx will walk through some of these trends in a few moments, but they're very positive trends.
Yeah, since yesterday?
It's for winning. Win.
For winning, we're gonna win. We're winning, are we? What's our points? Do we get some sort of? Do we get a trophy, like a bowling trophy?
Close it out. While we mourn the.
Close it out. He says. We're just gonna close it out, like it's a. Oh, it is loud. You're right. Sorry. That's a little better.
Tragic loss of life, and you can't mourn it any stronger than we're mourning it. You know.
We have been max mourning. You can't mourn. I mean, we are winning at mourning. It's morning in America. This is my morning in America speech. Nobody mourns like we mourn. Just try, bitches. What? We mourn like nobody's ever mourned in the mourn. Mourn the barn.
The United States has produced dramatically better health outcomes than any other country, with a possible exception of Germany, and I think we're...
No. Germany's working way better than us. There's a bunch of other countries, by the way, that are surpassing our numbers because they're acting like Washington State.
As good or better. On a per capita basis, remember that, on a per capita basis, our mortality rate is far lower than other nations of Western Europe. With the
You mean Italy?
lone exception of possibly Germany. This includes the UK,
You mean the country you're trying to buy the vaccine from before it was made?
Switzerland.
A per catheter basis. On a per catheter basis, I could change my catheter in the airline plane and got ready to do it.
Belgium, the Netherlands, Italy, France. Spain, for example, has a mortality rate that is nearly 4 times that of the United States. But you don't hear that. You hear we have more death.
We do have more death. And we are not through our peak yet.
We're a much bigger country than any of those.
Oh. Oh my God, he doesn't know what per capita means.
By far. So when the fake news gets out there and they start talking about the United States as number one, but we're not number one, China's number one, just so you understand.
Oh yeah? We're number 2? You look like number 2. I'm just saying.
China's number one by a lot. It's not even close. They're way ahead of us in terms of
Death.
It's not even close. You know it.
You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. Thank you, Templeton Zarat.
I know it. They know.
They know it. They know it in English and in Chinese. I know it in English and bullshitese.
But you don't want to report it. Why? You'll have to explain that.
What? You're the one that said China was doing a great job and you have a personal relationship with President Xi and you were working on the greatest trade deal ever and transparency. Remember, like, where's the...
Someday I'll explain it.
Yeah, please. Someday. Right after your taxes come out and the GOP healthcare plan comes out and we're going to have big, beautiful testing and everybody has a test who wants one. Right after that, then you'll explain it.
Since we released the guidelines to open up America again, and this was 2 days ago,
Yeah, and a number of states in 2 days have fixed everything.
of states led by both Democrat and Republican governors have announced concrete steps to begin a safe, gradual, and phased opening.
Yeah, no. California announced them before you did.
Texas and Vermont will allow certain businesses to open on Monday while still requiring appropriate social distancing precautions.
What businesses are those?
And I can tell you the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, he knows what he's doing. He's a great governor. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Meanwhile, that asshole in Vermont who's doing the exact same thing, I don't know what the hell that guy thinks he's up to.
Montana will begin lifting restrictions on Friday. Ohio, North Dakota, and Idaho have advised non-essential businesses to prepare for a phased opening starting May 1st. Throughout this crisis,
Yeah, that was always part of the process. The phased opening is 14 days after that. See if you have any spikes.
my administration has taken unprecedented actions to rush economic relief to our citizens.
Oh yeah? Your administration did? Because I kind of think the entire government did, but okay.
As an example,
Yeah, go ahead.
you don't hear any more about ventilators. What happened to the ventilators?
First of all, they went and got their own. Secondly, they realized that that intubating somebody can kill them. So the early part of the projections were made with the idea that the only way to save somebody was to put them on a ventilator. Now they are saving them just for giving people oxygen. But please explain the science. I made all these stupid ventilators and nobody wants them. And don't get me started on this gigantic shit pile of hydroxychloroquine. No, I can't move this shit. It's just stinking up the shelves.
And now they're giving you the other. It's called testing.
Oh my God. First they wanted ventilators. That turned out to be bullshit. Next thing they're going to want testing. Now they're going to say I don't have enough tests.
But they don't want to use all of the capacity that we've created. We have tremendous...
You haven't created any capacity. Birx is talking about the potential, oh good Lord, for maybe being able to do this.
capacity. Dr. Birx will be explaining that. They know that. The government...
Yeah, no, she'll be explaining it to you.
Governors know that. The Democrat governors know that.
Do they?
They're the ones that are complaining.
The Democrat governors are the ones that complain. What happened to the calls that were a 10 yesterday?
Through the paycheck.
24 hours and it's already like, God damn it. They won't leave me. Testing. Why won't anybody get on with it? Why don't you use your stupid ventilator to do some tests? You stupid dying citizens.
Protection program, we've already processed nearly $350 billion to 1.6 million small businesses across the nation.
How many small businesses are there in the country? Give me a ballpark. Come on. What's the per capita on the number of these things that's gotten a... What do you think?
To keep American workers on the payroll. So we're asking the Democrats to get it done. This should be bipartisan. This should be 100% vote. And it's really been incredible.
Well, there was... who was missing last time? There was 98-2 or whatever. We had a couple of presidents and Rand Paul.
$150 billion that's been approved is so popular. And
It's so popular. Guys, it's the new hot shit. Honestly, nothing has ever been this popular. I haven't been this popular since I stood on the edge of a desert with a bucket of water.
Business is open. It'll be open, hopefully forever.
Businesses will be open forever.
Our swift action is
hopefully forever. Oh, God.
Directly supporting 30 million American jobs. Amy Wright from North Carolina, as an example.
Mm-hmm. Not a single dead person gets a name drop.
Said the program is a game changer for her and her family. It's coffee shops. And she has 120 employees, many of whom have developmental and intellectual disabilities.
No, they have developmental and intellectual disabilities. They have not developed mental and intellectual disabilities. Holy shit, does he think that they've all gotten mental and intellectual deficiencies recently? They're probably caused by the Democrats.
And now they're all
Probably, you know what caused it? All that broccoli Michelle Obama was handing out.
staying, and they're getting paid.
How can you... Good Lord.
And she's got a dream, and it's going to take place very quickly when she opens again. So, Amy, good luck.
What's the dream? What's her dream? What's her dream? Is this place already open? Is she planning on opening it? Is she using the loan to open that? Because she might be, which is fine and lovely. But that would be a loan that was already in process with the Small Business Administration and was on hold because there was no money to find it until this happened, meaning that she's getting one of the loans that was already in the bank's works before the money came through. Stupid. That's not a COVID-19 small business stimulus loan.
North Carolina,
Great, yeah. I'm sure it was in a state that you need to win.
Scott and Julie Alderink
Or
help lead a church and own a restaurant in South Dakota.
yeah, really? This is the one name drop South Dakota's gonna get? This is what you're gonna talk about in South Dakota. What else is going on in South Dakota? Anybody know?
With about 15 employees, they were hired their employees back, and they can keep their restaurant open, and it'll be moving quickly.
It'll be moving quickly? No.
Very quickly.
Do they have a... Does South Dakota have a stay-at-home order? And if not, why would restaurant business be down other than the fact that people don't want to go eat?
As opposed to not having anybody and probably not having a place to have all of these people employed.
What? Speak, man. What?
She would have been out of business. She would have been gone.
She would have been gone. Dead. Probably would have gotten shot at or blown up or...
The Paycheck Protection Program funding is now fully drained. It's out. It's gone.
It's so popular. It's amazing. I had one bucket of water and a huge fire, and by God, they came in and they took it from me. And these jerks. I honest to God, hold on. I'm making this screen a little bigger on my end because this is ridiculous. His drained is gone. Gee, it's almost like those loans were already in process. Golly. Whoops. Did I lose my screen that way? Is that what happened? I got to go to another screen first. Hold on. It always gets weird when I try to adjust something midway. Hold on. I'll be right back after these messages. Be right back. Oh, baby. All right. I think this will do it. Fingers crossed. Nope. Where is it? Where is it? Why won't that screen come? It gets weird sometimes. Come on, you. Is that the not? Oh, whatever. There we go. Turn it off and back on. Does that do it? I know. Hold on. If I do this and I choose it and I go down to here and I do that and I go done and then I switch it, will that work? You weirdo. Yeah, that worked. There we go. Ugh. I worked so hard and this is what I get. Ugh. Jerk.
$350 billion to small businesses.
Mm-hmm. All the loans that were already in process. Yeah.
And in turn, it goes to the employees of those small businesses.
Does it really? Does it really? Because it sounds like somebody's starting a business and she's getting the loan to actually start the thing, which is fine, but that's a normal Small Business Administration thing, the kind of thing Republicans always push back against.
Lawmakers must stop blocking these funds and replenish the program without delay.
They're not blocking them. They have other concerns as well, and they're not just going to top off 2 of your slush funds.
The Democrats have to come on board. I used to read that these were Democrat programs, not Republican. Seems to have switched around a lot, hasn't it?
Kinda. Yeah. How's that conservative philosophy going? How's that, huh? You finally wake up to the idea that the Democrats... The only real difference between how these programs go as far as Republican to Democrat is how they're administered and whether or not you have someone auditing to make sure that the money goes where it's supposed to go. Very different.
Switched around a lot. The Republicans want it. I think the Democrats probably do too. But they also want other things that are unacceptable.
Yep, unacceptable. What do the Democrats want that is unacceptable?
About COVID. This is about the plague and what it's done to us. This isn't about extraneous things that they've been trying to get for years.
Oh yeah, like a payroll tax cut, shit like that?
And that our country doesn't want them to have.
It doesn't want them to have. Doesn't want them to have.
As we enter the next stage of our battle, we are continuing our relentless effort to destroy the virus. My administration is taking steps to protect high-risk communities by providing funding for 13,000 community health center sites and mobile medical stations.
Mobile medical stations. They're all in Alabama.
In order to equip
Or mobile. We sometimes call them mobile.
them with the most advanced and robust testing capabilities. These sites are incredible. What they can do is incredible.
Incredible. Incredible.
The job they do is incredible.
Oh yeah? What do they do? Tell me what they do, big boy. Explain it. I love when he tells me something's fantastic, but can't tell me how or why it's fantastic.
These centers provide care to 28 million people living in
And they are mobile, so you can roll them around.
medically underserved urban and rural regions, including many African American and Hispanic communities. We're taking care of them.
Are you? Yeah. Do you want a cookie? You're supposed to.
And it's so important because you've all been reading about the disproportionate numbers on African American.
Yeah, don't you have a report for that was supposed to come out today?
And you're reading a little bit less about Hispanic, but likewise Hispanic communities. The numbers are disproportionate.
Unless you're Hispanic, and then you might be reading a little more about it because you are, and you're concerned about yourself and your family.
In fact, we're doing big studies on it right now. We don't like
Oh, okay, you're doing big studies. Okay, good.
it. Not right. Nationwide,
It's not
we've
right.
now conducted
Thanks.
over 4 million tests. And Deborah will be talking about that. It's double the
Yeah, it was supposed to be 4 million tests a month ago.
number conducted by any other country on Earth. So that's more than 2 times, actually, the number conducted by any other country.
How many dead do we have of the other countries that you're measuring against? How many dead? What's our number of dead compared to them?
On Earth, you hear so much about testing. What we've done
Yeah.
is incredible in testing, and I started
No, it isn't. No.
with an obsolete, broken system from a
What system? It's a brand new disease, dummy. You have no idea how this works. Tell us about how the cupboards were bare. Unbelievable.
previous administration or administrations.
Oh, administrations or administrations. Administrations.
But I would really say administration for a different reason, because testing has become so advanced over the last number of years. And we have the most advanced of all. I
What?
spoke with other nations.
As opposed to what? Like, do you think there are bad malaria tests? You think HIV tests are the same as they were in 1984? What the shit are you talking about?
Morning, the leaders, and they all are talking about our great testing capability, and some of them want to know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you can learn from other people's mistakes.
How can they get involved? Because they need it
Yeah, they want it. Yeah, that's what they want, to be involved.
for their own countries.
Please let me hang out with you. You know so much. This is so great. Help us! Help us, Johnny! I have COVID all over my face! Help me! Solve my problems, Johnny! Solve them for me!
In Louisiana, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York, and other hotspots, we have
Notice how he's stacking these friggin' hotspots. Like, you know, we used to have two places, New York and California, and that's you just talk about that, and now he just slips these other ones in.
also tested more people per capita by far than Italy, Spain, Germany, France, and the United Kingdom.
That's because they quarantined the areas where the disease was, and they only needed to test around those areas so that they could start bringing their numbers down. They didn't have to test the whole country. We, unfortunately, are going to have to test the entire country because you let the shit run rampant. Like, where is the mystery here?
And all other major countries. So think of that. In New
All other major countries. Major countries. Define major.
York, for instance, per capita testing is 6% higher than in Singapore. In fact, there's a typo. It's 67% higher. That's a big difference.
No, you misread it. And so I thought you thought that that's on the governors. The governors need to be doing all the testing. Right?
I'd say there's a big difference between 6% and 60. I was looking, I said, 6% doesn't look too good.
No, there's not a typo. You misread it. You don't have 67% memorized.
67%. Good job out there.
Blame your staff.
Higher than Singapore, 64% higher than South Korea, and 47% higher than Australia. So it's 67% higher than Singapore, which is a very advanced place in terms of what they're doing.
Uh-huh. New York is one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest city on the earth. It is the throughput for the entirety of the world economy. And you're surprised they would be testing more than Singapore? Christ almighty.
My administration has also been speaking frequently with many of the governors.
I'm so glad you slept well after the fartathon, and I apologize that the fart noises aren't... I got that in there, but I can hear it, but it doesn't go out through the thing, I don't think. Yeah, it just goes... All I hear it is in the monitor, so I get to hear it, but you don't. It's like he that smelt it dealt it, but sonically. It's terrible. I gotta work on it.
Help them find and unlock the vast unused testing capacity that exists in their states. Dr. Birx discussed yesterday the commercial and academic laboratories in the states have tremendous unused capability.
Because they are doing other shit, dummy. The federal government is now telling the states that all their labs, they're running cancer diagnostics and paternity tests and rape kits and forensic like studies, like solving murders. Like she wants Quincy to drop everything, and oh my God,
which they can use. The governor should use it.
Use it, but just use it. It's not being used. They aren't using it for anything. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm fine.
Tremendous unused capability. They're
Oh
waiting
yeah, explain it to us.
for business from these governors that Some of them complain.
Is the camera shit too much? It's kind of fun. I will be playing with it a little too much, and then I'll dial it back.
Let's tell you, for the most part, we're getting along great with them. But some of them like to
complain. Oh yeah? Why? Because their citizens are dying?
But I still go back, because the hardest thing of all, by far, by a factor of 20, is the ventilators. And now we're the king of ventilators. We have
king of ventilators. I will always be king of
ventilators. We're going to be helping other countries very soon. We're going to be helping Mexico. I spoke with the president of Mexico.
Yeah, we've heard this story. How many times? You spoke with him last night 5 times this week, which is not true.
Great guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy, totally, because he's giving you soldiers at the border, because he shut the border with Mexico and the United States before you did.
And I told him we're going to be helping him. They desperately in Mexico need ventilators, and I told him we're going to be helping.
Are they real ventilators, or is that a nickname for an AK-47?
And very substantially. We're in a position to do that. We're building now thousands a week, and they're coming in rapidly, and they're very, very high quality.
Tell us about hydroxychloroquine, though. How's that going?
But we're also helping governors to develop strategies to smartly deploy their testing capacity to protect vulnerable and underserved populations while getting Americans at lower risk safely back to work.
You mean like California's doing and started doing the plan for a week before that? Or Joe Biden's op-ed? You mean that? You mean, it's amazing how after that phone call with him, all of a sudden you have a plan.
So again, we have tremendous testing capacity. Now, a lot of people like the Abbott test that we came up with.
Most people don't know, I invented the situation where they could, that we came up with. Listen to this child. That, hey, that bad!
It's a brand new technology, brand new.
It's a brand new technology that you came up with. Who's we? You mean the United States? Is that going to be the pushback later when somebody goes, what the shit do you mean we?
Test, it's great. It's 5 minutes, boom, you put it in.
Boom. Bada bing, bada spapadoo. And, it's no big problem. Then you go out and you're fine. And nobody's going to mind. It's all good. You just, a little dingy ding, and you're fine.
And we're making thousands of machines. Abbott is making thousands and thousands of machines, but not everybody's going to get that one, but they're going to get others. We have.
Why won't? What do you mean? Not everybody's going to get one? Are you going to stop giving them out? Are you going to sell them overseas? What's happening? Who's supposed to get them? I thought we came up with them.
Numerous platforms, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Oh, good.
Unfortunately, some.
Why don't you just explain them right now? I feel like, oh my God.
Partisan voices are attempting to politicize the issue of testing, which they shouldn't be doing, because I inherited broken junk.
Broken junk. Look, I'm surprised you didn't point at your head when you said that. Secondly, that is no way to talk about Fauci and Birx.
Just as they did with
broken junk. You've been president for 3.5 years. It broke while you were in charge of it. He is Biff in Back to the Future. McFly, I can't believe you would loan me your car without telling me it's got a blind spot. Who's going to pay for my dry cleaning?
Ventilators where we had virtually none, and the hospitals were empty. For the most part, the hospitals didn't have ventilators. We had to take care of the whole country, and we did a job, the likes of which nobody. We assembled an army of young, brilliant people.
Not those old, stupid people.
Part young, a couple of older ones. But for the most part, they were
That was a shot at Fauci. He's younger than you are.
Young, brilliant geniuses that did a job like nobody would believe. I wish you could.
Why wouldn't I believe it? What are you talking about? Countries all over the world are doing the exact same shit. Nobody wants to die from this. Everybody's on board. Why is this... How are you always impressed with the what is wrong with you? I'm fine.
You've seen it. Round the clock, And now the rest of the world's coming to us asking if we could help them with ventilators because they're very complicated, very expensive.
They're like a car. They're hard to make. And they have buttons on them. They're like an iPad with a bunch of tubes. It's like a, oh my God.
Very hard to build.
Are they? Did you try one? Did you show us your owie from when you tried to put one together?
And we have them coming in by the thousands.
Uh-huh.
You don't hear that from even the governors. Nobody's complaining
No, they went and got their own, dummy.
about ventilators.
Do you know why? Do you know why? Do you know why? How has treatment changed in the 3 months since the disease came online in the medical community in the United States? They were following the lead of people who were dealing with the disease overseas, and then they started to modify their treatment.
And if there was a surge, we could have ventilators to them within hours. Because we have in stockpile almost 10,000 ventilators.
Oh, no, they're all the ones that you have are broken and don't work. The states went and got their own. The states would rather run 2 people off a ventilator from New York would rather run 2 people off 1 ventilator from Oregon than get 2 ventilators from you.
You don't hear about hospital beds. When I first started, everyone was talking, oh, hospital beds, hospital beds.
Yeah, because everyone stayed home and we bent the curve.
The governor of New York,
Nobody appreciates me anymore.
All I'm gonna get is criticized for having more than 3 times the deaths of H1N1, and people are gonna read back all of my quotes from back then.
directly asked me for hospital beds, and we got the Army Corps of Engineers out, and they built them. He needed them. I mean, I know he said that we were projecting. We're not projecting New York. We're listening to the governors.
Oh, yeah, we're not doing any of these projections. We're not letting the states know in the very beginning.
He wanted them. He needed them, and we gave him thousands of beds. In Javits Center, we brought the ship. Then the ship, we had it converted.
Yeah, that was your thing. Both the ships were an administration thing. They thought this would be great and very military looking. The states don't prefer these to on-the-ground sites. You have to bring people out, bring them up a gangplank on a gurney. They're meant to service people like at war. People are being helicoptered in and shit.
To COVID-19, and that was a big deal, by the way, because of ventilation and all the things we had to do, but we did.
The ventilation, which you had to change all the ventilation. You mean you had to put in new bulbs for the UVC lights that kill viruses in the ventilation of the ship because it would contaminate the whole ship?
And fortunately for him and for us, all of us, they haven't used either one very much because the numbers have gone down significantly.
Well, why have they gone down?
But it was there.
Why?
And it was built and it was beautiful. 2,900 beds.
Oh God, give us the number again.
I short sheeted every single one of them and I get no credit.
It was incredible what they did. They did it in a matter of a few days.
Yeah, we know. We were all there. When do you think this happened?
But unfortunately, and it was very good. The relationship was very good. And I'm frankly glad they don't need them. But they were there. Louisiana, the same thing. I think the governor, Democrat, good guy. And he will, I think, tell you a story that we had more than enough. And I said, well, we're supposed to build one more. I called him. I said, you know, if we don't have to build this hospital, it was an additional anywhere from 500 to 1,000 beds. If you don't need it, would it be possible that we don't build it? We'd like to build it someplace else, or not build it at all and save money, which is okay for government too. Use it someplace else.
Use it where? On the $55 million you gave to Panthera, the paramilitary training organization that you paid $55 million for PPE, even though they have never, ever made any gear of any sort, including PPE, and they haven't had any employees since 2018. You mean saving money like that?
And he called me back the next day and he said,
you know what, bruh, I'm good. You know what I mean?
You sure you don't want me to help you move? I I don't, I can, I'm sorry about the vase, but I'm pretty sure I'd be good with your TV. I could carry your TV for you. We could put it in my car.
We don't need it. I said, that's good.
Like, no, we're good, man. Thanks.
Did you say that? I appreciate it. And he didn't need it. But we were ready to go. We took good care of Louisiana. We took good care of Michigan. We took good care of every place. We didn't miss a trick. And we're in great shape on testing. We have different platforms. We actually have 9 different platforms.
9.
And on Monday, we're going to be adding one. That'll be 9 to 10. I don't like to count on them before they're
9 to 10. We've got 9. We're adding 1. So it'll be somewhere between 9 and 10.
up, but we'll have anywhere from 9 to 10 platforms with a
What's a platform? Explain it to me.
tremendous
Tell us all about it.
testing capability. And people can go, and especially with phase 1. Now, at the same time, just like with ventilators, we're building now the best ventilators.
This is so good, and nobody gives me any credit. And I've got all this hydroxychloroquine, and it turns out remdesivir is actually better. And I mispronounced it, and I haven't been so embarrassed to say it because I said it wrong. And when you say it wrong, you say it again. I don't want to say it wrong again, so I haven't been mentioning it because I managed to nail hydroxychloroquine every time I say it. It's my favorite thing to say is hydroxychloroquine, and that's so good.
Just like with ventilators, our testing is getting better and better. I took the first test.
What's it supposed to get worse and worse? Or stay the same? We're in a pandemic. Better and better is a necessity.
The first test was not pleasant. This was not a pleasant thing. I said, you got to be kidding, to the doctor. You got to be kidding. Up your nose, and then we hang a right, and it goes down here, and then we'll wiggle it around here under your eye, and then we'll pull it out, and we'll say, I said, no, there's no way that can happen.
There's no way that can happen.
Is that the way it goes? You sure?
Yeah. So his hang up on this was that's just a bad way to do it?
It was a very unpleasant test.
Really? Imagine what it's like having the disease.
And then I was tested a few weeks later with the new test that just came out, the Abbott, where they just touch your nose, basically, and they put it in a machine, and literally a few minutes later they tell you if you're fine. And I was lucky in both cases, because I've seen the damage that this does to people.
Yeah? You were lucky, were you?
But we have great tests. They've really gotten better and better and better as we go along. But we have a tremendous laboratory capability all over the country. And for some reason, the governors
don't want to use it? You mean the stuff that they're using to deal with criminal cases that are ongoing, that are murder, and that the lawyers involved will go, they're contaminating the whole lab, was having to shut down, it ruins my client's chances at a speedy trial, so we think the charges should be thrown out.
They're not, a lot of them are, but some of the governors like to complain and they're not using it. We have tremendous capability. We're ready for that. And as we go along, just like with the ventilators, we'll get better, more advanced, and we'll be able to do things that nobody would have even believed possible. But we started off with a broken system. We inherited a broken, terrible system.
What are you talking about? You've been president for 3.5 years. It's on you. And being unprepared 3.5 years into your presidency is not anyone else's fault. You lazy bitch.
We'll say it. Our cupboards were bare.
Our cupboards were bare. Our cupboards
were loaded up.
Our cupboards were bare. Now we're loaded up. You let masks rot on the shelves. You had no material strategy for dealing with anything that required any forethought. You're an infant.
We also loaded up these hospitals.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We also, like that. Can you imagine if Bush was like, "Hey, we brought down a bunch of trailers. I mean, I'm basically the biggest construction magnet in New Orleans. I built more houses in New Orleans than anybody, I think, in history.
You know, we're talking about payment. We gave billions of dollars worth of things to hospitals.
You didn't give it. It's the federal government. They need them to save lives. This didn't come out of your own paycheck. You're broke. If the Secret Service wasn't paying you $45,000 a golf cart and twice the Expedia cost or the Travel-Go whatever cost of a hotel room, you'd have to shut 2 of your properties.
And we'll have to work that out at some point. In fact,
Really? What, are they going to pay you back? In what? Dead people?
I guess they're going to be working that out with Congress. But we loaded up hospitals. The federal government loaded up hospitals with things to take care of people that are very desperately ill. We weren't worried about payment at that time. They said, you'll take care of it at the right time.
Tell you what, I'm going to do you a little favor. I'm going to do this for you, but someday I'm going to come back to you. You're going to need to pay me back this money. Because these people are not my problem. These people are your problem. This is the whole thing. I'm going to give you this ventilator. But in the future, you will give me your votes.
But we gave billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of medical goods and...
You're supposed to. It's a pandemic.
medicines and equipment to...
Unless you want credit for where you didn't and all the dead people, then... Yeah.
And we'll work it out with them.
Oh, yeah? You will? Really?
But...
These are loans. These are just loans. You're going to patch holes in your... like somebody told them about the lower tax revenue because of all the people who aren't working, paying for his shit.
People don't like to talk about that.
No, because it's insane.
So we have done a job that nobody believed. This was a military and private enterprises march.
March. A military march. No. This was a medical emergency, and we set up supply chains as a country to deal with it.
We marched.
You didn't march. You haven't left the house. I don't know what you're talking about.
And unfortunately...
I don't like marching.
The other side, because they're viewing it as an election.
No. They're viewing it as an election. Are they? Are they?
How did President Trump do? Oh, he did terribly. Let's see.
Yeah, he did. You're doing terribly. This is ridiculous. Look at you. You're in the middle of a pandemic, and you're doing funny voices. Look what I'm doing. But I'm not the president. About how people are treating you when ambulance.
He did. He did terribly. Oh, but we just got them the ventilators that they didn't have that they should have had.
You're supposed to. Look, all you need to know is they showed up, the fire truck showed up with water. Okay, that's all you need to know. I know the house burnt down 2 days ago, but you can't pretend like I didn't show up.
Got them hospital beds by the thousands.
You're supposed to.
Just got them testing.
No, you haven't. We have nowhere near the testing. You don't even know the difference between the testing for the virus and testing for antibodies. You have no idea. Even for whatever reason, Pence has a hard time explaining this, and it's the simplest difference.
Don't even know how to use.
They don't even know how to use. Maybe you could show them. Were they holding the testing machine upside down?
In some cases, they have machines that they're only using 5% and 10% of the machine because they have an advanced machine.
Uh-huh.
And they don't know how to use it.
Oh, no? It didn't come with instructions? Is there a YouTube video we can all watch?
It can do much more. So we've had people explain how to use it.
Oh, yeah? You're calling? That's why he's so exhausted. He's been up all night doing tech support.
So... I don't know. I don't think I'd do that on the other side. I really don't. I think that here we have a crisis and we have to work together, and I hope we're going to work together.
What?
We're moving along, and we're moving along well.
And we're moving along fast and well and very strongly.
We're moving along well. This should not be a partisan witch hunt.
A partisan witch hunt. Oh my God. Are we now moving into this is Russia, Russia, Russia again?
Like the Russia witch hunt that turned out to be a
Jesus.
phone
Oh my God. Let it go.
deal.
If you had gotten pushed out of office like you were supposed to be by the Senate, you wouldn't have had to deal with this bullshit. It would all be on Mike Pence's shoulders.
Unfortunately, some of these voices, though, are attempting to bring this into politics, and whether it's testing or ventilators or hospital beds or other dimensions of our sweeping public health response, we have had a sweeping response.
Oh yeah? How did we manage that sweeping response?
In speaking to the leaders of other countries this morning, they said, "This is incredible the way you've done this so quickly. You know, we're only talking about a few weeks since everybody knew this was such a big problem."
Bullshit! You told the Israelis to plan for a pandemic in November.
And the rest of the world is watching, and they respect what we've done, because I don't think anybody else, I know nobody else could have done what we've done.
A bunch of countries are doing, like, you know what you don't hear along with ventilators? Cases in South Korea.
And we started with...
You were hearing so much about cases in South Korea. Everybody was like, oh, all these cases in South Korea. And then all of a sudden, you just don't hear that anymore. And we tried so hard to deal with this stupidness in South Korea. Now,
garbage.
Garbage. Oh, God.
As our expert said...
Wait. I have to hear that. I have to hear that again. Oh my God. What?
The leaders of other countries this morning, they said, "This is incredible the way you've done this so quickly. You know, we're only talking about a few weeks since everybody knew this was such a big problem. And the rest of the world is watching, and they respect what we've done, because I don't think anybody else, I know nobody else could have done what we've done." And we started with garbage. As our
We started with garbage.
expert said yesterday, America's testing capability and capacity is fully sufficient to begin opening up the country totally. Indeed, our system is by far the most robust and advanced anywhere in the world by far. The rest of the world will tell you that. I spoke this morning to a friend of mine, President Moon of South Korea. He just won the election. He won it by a lot. He had a big victory, which I was happy about. And he was saying what a great job we've done in this country. I told him the same thing. He said, "What a great job."
such a great job.
I told him what a great job we were doing in this country. And he told him.
We've done here in this country. So I appreciated that. He had a great, by the way, he had a great victory, and we're very happy about that from the standpoint of our country, working very well with them. South Korea. As
Yeah, they've already bent their curve.
we approach, and the approach that we use, but as we approach, hopefully, the downward side of what's going on, I think you're going to see some incredible hard facts and evidence that what we did was right.
Oh, yeah? You think so?
There's a lot of talk about herd, the word herd.
Uh-huh. What does it mean? You mean herd immunity and how the Swedes think that they were going to give that through? And somebody was suggesting, why don't we just rat it out? Why don't we just rat it, cowboy? Come on. Why don't we rat it out? Who said that? I did.
At a meeting with Dr. Fauci.
I don't want to show you charts of people that went a different way, but it's scary.
What do you mean Sweden? Just say Sweden. Everybody knows what the stats are. You don't know better than they.
Scary.
What do you...
We would...
Again, the idea that they realized very quickly that it was not a functional strategy. Right about the time Sweden was figuring it out that, oh shit, we've done something horrible. Right about the time that Boris Johnson got sick, and you were saying, why don't we just write it out? Write it out. Why don't we just write it out?
I think millions of people die had we done a different way.
No, millions of people would have died if you had done nothing. If you had, I don't know, how does Trump like to spend his time? What could I can't imagine what he would rather be doing than, what could possibly be a better use of Trump's time? Perhaps, I don't know, come play with me, Donnie. Play with me forever and ever.
And I think numbers are just coming out where they're estimating 60,000 people will die. That's horrible. I always say one person is too much, especially in this case when it could have been stopped in China. Could have been.
Yeah. But it went to 184 countries. And all of those countries and the leaders of those countries will be judged on their response in dealing with it in their country.
Stopped in China before it started, and it wasn't, and the whole world is suffering because of it.
Really? Are you gonna scuttle the China deal right now? Then are we just throwing that whole thing out, baby out with the bathwater? Is that what we're going back to square one? We're going to TPP now? Is that what we're gonna go with?
But this herd concept, and everybody had to think of it at the beginning because look at us. We had the greatest economy in the history.
Oh my God! Glory days, young girls' eyes, glory days
of the world. Better than China, better than any country in the world, better than any country has ever had. We had the highest stock market in history by far, and I'm honored by the fact that it has started to go up very substantially. That's because...
Yeah, it's not because it's reflective of the economy. That's foreign money. It's worse elsewhere.
The market is smart. The market is actually brilliant. I've seen it. And they're viewing it like we've done a good job. They view it that way.
I would be glad to, Slick Chick. But, hold on.
Because if you would have told me that we're at 24,000 or beyond, and the highest we were ever was, we never hit 30. We were getting close to 30, so let's say around 29,000, we're at 24. We were heading down. I would start to say, oh, well, we may be heading into territory where I started. I didn't like that. Now we're way up. But if you would have said to me, with what we've gone through...
because you only care about the stock market. Look at where jobs are, for example.
Not caused by our country or our people or not caused...
No, you can directly trace this to your lack of action weeks before.
Certainly anybody within our country. But if you would have said that after going through this horrible plague, we'd have a stock market that's much, much higher than when I started, much higher than where I started. And I think I think we have tremendous momentum. We have
Obama's stock market when he came in was 6,400. When he left, it was 19,500. Like, you can't even touch the hem of that amount of growth. And he did it during a recession.
Big election coming up, but I think we have tremendous momentum. First, we get rid of the plague. And because of what we're doing with the PPP, what we're doing with the paycheck, as we call it, I think we have a chance to have these companies get back to action quickly. But our approach to testing is based on facts, data, and very hard evidence, not partisan agendas or coordinated political talking points. Mike Pence, who's a phenomenal guy, is making the commencement address right now at the Air Force Academy, where they're being very politically correct. Everyone's standing not 6 feet, but 10 feet apart.
Why is that politically correct? What are you talking about? Okay, this is nuts. This dude actually thinks that it's political correctness. No, I mean, no wonder he sides with the friggin' people in Michigan.
Well, and it's very different. I made that speech last year. I'm going to West Point. I think they're changing the date to June 13th because of what's going on in New York. They're moving it to June 13th, West Point. So
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me put that in my calendar. Let me write that down.
doing their commencement speech, and they're going to have, sad, but it's a big start. They're going to have the cadets. They may not have the parents, but they're going to have the cadets. The parents are so proud of them. I know at the Air Force Academy where Mike is speaking right now, they don't have the parents. They have the cadets. They're very, very widespread. And you talk about social distancing. I mean, they are really spread. I looked at it. They're using 10 feet. So he's doing that, but they're having it. It's very important to have it. And
Political correctness.
that's a great thing. That's a great thing. That's a big start. So he's there right now, and I will tell you, he's a gentleman, Mike Pence, a real gentleman.
Is he? Is he a gentleman? Is he sweet? Are you gentle with him? Does he like it when you're gentle? Tell us about it. Tell us all about it.
And the Democrat senators requested a phone call with him yesterday, and I think they had, for the most part, all of them on.
Oh yeah, we love Mike Pence.
Approximately 47. I heard it was just about all of them,
Pence.
whatever it might be. I don't want to be wrong by 1 or 2 or 10.
No.
And have the press say he lied.
He lied about. Oh, just say Pence again.
Whatever it was, but
say Pence.
47, and I guess most of them were. I heard they were so rude. I used the term today. I said rude and nasty, but I heard they were so rude.
Who's rude and nasty? To Pence?
Which was
No!
Positive in terms of winning this battle against the invisible enemy.
What?
No matter what he said, they were fresh. They were nasty.
They were fresh. Oh my God, they've gotten fresh, the vice president. Ew, ew. Who would allow such a thing? Have you heard such language before? Fresh. He got fresh with me. Oh Lord. Oh my goodness.
And it was, I heard, just a terrible thing.
Oh yeah? They were fresh with him? Why? Because they were angry because their citizens were dying because you sent them broken ventilators?
I said, Mike, that's politics. That's what it is.
That's what I caused. I cradled him in my arms, and I said, Mike,
We have won. It's 100% gone. The Democrats would say the president has done a horrible job. He has done a disgraceful job.
Yeah, because of the stuff you've done so far. What's winning in this is the fact the American people are shutting down their lives and staying home. That's what's beating this virus, more than any other factor. Your responsibility, so we can all go back to our lives, is to make sure that there is adequate testing, both PCR tests and antibody tests, to find out who had the disease and who has the disease, and who doesn't have it, who might get it. And once we can categorize those people, and then we can track and trace based on smaller outbreaks. But you're not doing that, because in a country of 350 million people, you are relying on the governors to do all the testing, and so most of the testing that you're bragging about has taken place in California, Washington, and mostly New York City.
It is a shame how bad he is. You know,
This is true, though. I mean, yeah, I don't know really what you think is, what's the problem?
This is political, and it would be nice not to have that, especially.
Well, here's a good idea. Do a better job next time, and everyone will be lovely.
On the job.
Believe me, if he was competent at any of this shit, I guarantee people would be like, you know what? I gave him shit for a long time, but goddamn, this dude's holding it together. Because it's a pandemic. It's a real threat.
We've done.
But whine. Just keep... Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your whining. Please, adult male president of the United States, continue to whine about how people treat you during a pandemic where today 1,000 Americans will choke to death.
I mean, all you have to do is look at the big V for victory or V for ventilator. Take a look at it. Everybody said they had us on that. They had us. They thought they had us, but we got them done at numbers that nobody would have believed.
No, they're not here yet. New York is still doubling up.
And we did use our act, our production
No, you didn't.
act. And we used
No. We used it very strongly by not using it.
it, but we didn't use it. We didn't need it like a hammer.
we used it, but we didn't use it. We used it by not using it. And that's the key. I don't know if you've read Art of the Deal, but the best part of dealing is not dealing. Never deal when you can deal. The worst part, if you start dealing, it's like the art of war, but with the deal. Once you start dealing, the deal is done.
We had to do, for the most part, we used it actually in a number of cases, but for the most part, all we had to do is talk about it. All we had to do is say.
All we had to do was talk about it. Let's see. Why would that be? Let me think. Why would that be? Because those companies were already in process and working as fast as they could to do what was necessary because they recognized the threat that was happening, and you were just this jerk whacking around on the phone like a moron.
We're going to use it if you don't do this, and everybody was, for the most part, good. We used it.
And Venus Flytrap, I see you on there. I just don't know. I don't have the ability to mod on Periscope in the setup that I have for some strange reason, and I don't know why. I don't know where the modding setting up thing is. Close that. Maybe see if the comments will come up here, and then it needs a separate page. But I will try as I continue to do both the funny and the money at the same time. I will run the show and be the show and do the show and have a show and am the show and also do silly things with my face at the same time.
A couple of times because it didn't work out the easy way, but it worked out the hard way.
The hard way.
But whether it was masks or ventilators, it was incredible what we've been able to do.
Was it? You just... that's the problem with this thing. The man isn't getting enough credit for the bare minimum of government.
A very critical time for the American people.
Most presidents would have tried to do shit. We don't get any credit for the fact that I believe we should have, by doing nothing, we probably saved more lives and just let the states do it. Man's got to know his limitations.
And the American people deserve real information and respond.
Really? When's that going to start? Is that because we're a full-on hour into this and I haven't heard any
sensible and thoughtful dialogue from
the thoughtful dialogue. Oh, that's adorable.
Elected leaders and from the media.
Oh,
the media's been
okay.
Some very honest, but some very.
Some are good and some are not good, and some are mean and some are not mean, and some get mean and some are mean, and some are treating me well and others are not.
It's honest, you know that.
I don't have to tell you that. People know this all the
but a
time.
story where Mark Meadows was a tough guy. He was crying. This was Maggie Haberman. She won a Pulitzer Prize for her coverage of Russia, but she was wrong in Russia.
No, she wasn't. No. Turned out to be true. You got impeached on it.
So was everyone else. They should all give back their Pulitzer Prizes.
No. They're right. Release the unredacted Mueller report.
In fact, it turned out that the crime was committed by the other side.
Oh, really? Really? This is where we are. Middle of a pandemic, and you're going to start saying that...
Actually, it was the Democrats that they're the ones who colluded with Russia because they had a guy go over there and research my contacts with Russia. So, get it?
The crime was not committed by this side. It was committed by the other side, a bunch of bad people.
Oh, yeah? What'd they do? Tell us.
Well, the reports coming out over the last 2 weeks. They got caught.
Did they? They got caught. What'd they get caught doing?
So Maggie Haberman gets a Pulitzer Prize.
They got caught. Just say they got caught. Not what they got caught at, but please.
Great reporter, New York Times. And we put her name up here last week. You saw that?
Yeah.
People
I used her I cite her when she says good things about me, but when she says bad things about me, those are fake.
It was a commercial. It wasn't a commercial. It's like a commercial, but it wasn't a commercial. It was just clips. And because we exposed her as being a bad reporter,
If she's a bad reporter, why should I take what she said about your response seriously?
what happened,
Why in the world would I trust her if you said she lies when she says things that are good about you? Where in the world?
How much of a banana are you, you moron? You are bananas. Stay bananas.
she came out and said, Mark Meadows was crying. And they made it sound, I said, Mark, and it's okay if he did. I wouldn't, look.
I'd cry too if I had me for a boss.
But I think he was crying probably really for the wrong reason they had it down. But he's not a crier.
What do you mean? The wrong reason they had it down. The wrong reason they had it down. Okay, here's how you cover for this. I don't want to, give the side any cover. But if somebody is, let's say, in the White House from this point on, and they're crying because they work for an asshole who only cares about himself and whines constantly about his poll numbers and his election chances as Americans are dying by the tens of thousands, then maybe if they're caught crying and it's in a story and you're going to push back against them, here's a good idea. Why not say he was crying on me? I'm just saying. Why not say that they were crying because it's very hard to deal with the fact that there are all these people dying? It's a very sad thing, because it is. Many of us have actually cried about it in looking at the stories and seeing what's happening to people. It's a completely reasonable response. That's not why he was crying, though. He was crying because he works for you and you don't give a shit.
And if he was, I've known cries. I could tell you people that you know that are very famous, they cry. And that's okay, too.
Yeah, in movies. I've done it on camera. I could do it on cue. And?
But it was a nasty story in so many ways. It was fake news. And she only did it because we exposed her.
Huh? You didn't expose her. You played a clip that said she thought you were doing the right thing.
For being a terrible, dishonest reporter. She is. I've known her for a long while. I haven't spoken to her a long time. I made the mistake. I take a picture with her at the desk a long time ago. Every time she does a story, if I say, I haven't spoken to her in many months, maybe years. I don't speak to her. She's fake.
I don't speak to her. She's fake. I don't even believe she exists. Honestly, I think she's in a fantasy world of her own illusion.
A lot of people are fake.
A lot of people are fake. A lot of people. Well, that's a quote. Why don't they get his Hall of Presidents robot to say that?
A lot of people are fake. A lot of people are fake.
A lot of people. We get a lot of fake people. But what happens?
Really? Define fake. You mean like people who pretend to be evangelical Christians or know a lot about the Bible or believe that it's their favorite book but can't quote a single verse out of it?
She writes a story.
Oh, God. Dude, this is the prepared remarks part.
Retribution puts it in the New York Times. And the New York Times is a very dishonest newspaper.
But you quoted them the other day when they said you were doing a good job. Which one's true?
My opinion.
Okay. So, all right. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna agree with your opinion on it. When Maggie Haberman said in that clip you played this week that you were doing a good job, I'm gonna go with you on this because you seem to believe it so much that she was wrong and fake and completely full of shit.
It's not an opinion. It's actually, from my standpoint, the very hard thing to figure, though. Most people wouldn't know that, but I know because I know the facts.
Yeah? What are they? Tell us the facts.
And they make up, I said it today, they make up words.
They make up words like Rendezvous and Mobile.
Sources say, most often used, sources say. You know what sources say, man? Sources say means they have nobody.
Oh yeah? Really? Then why are you looking for people who are leaking? Why are you throwing people out for leaking stories to the media? Because you can't leak a lie.
And they make it up. Okay? And they have a few other type statements that mean the same thing. But sources say is the most often used expression in the Washington Post, New York Times especially, CNN.
Yeah, because they don't want to tell you who their sources are because you'll fire them.
Fake news, CNN. They should really be mandated, and I mean mandated to...
This is, oh my God. Straight up dictator shit. The news should be forced to give their sources legally.
Use a name. If there's a source, use a name. Say that Kaylee.
So I can fire her and replace her with a sycophant.
Kaylee McEnany said, or somebody, and you'd find out that the, number one, the source wouldn't say it. The sources don't exist. I don't believe the sources exist.
Yeah, I mean, John Bannon, John Barron says,
and I try and tell this.
Sources don't exist.
You know, the beautiful thing about doing these conferences is that we have tremendous numbers of viewers, and I'm able to reach the viewers without having to go through fake news where they...
Oh, no, yeah. Well, that's exactly why I do a ride-along with you, pal. So you don't just get to spout lies directly without any pushback, which is why you like this.
Make a good story into a bad story.
That's the opposite of what you're trying to do. Make a bad story into a good story. That's actually more dangerous in a pandemic. Because a good story into a bad story just might hurt someone's feelings. A bad story into a good story hides facts that get people killed. Dipshit.
Oh, with all that, it's been an incredible period of time.
Isn't it, guys? Hasn't it been incredible? It's just been incredible. I mean, honestly, this is just a great place to be. I feel more myself than I've ever felt before. This is totally normal.
We've done a fantastic job.
No, you haven't. Why is that? Again, this is taking a bad story and making it into a good story.
With the talk of other nations, the leaders of other nations are calling us for help.
No, they're not. You hear that snickering on the other end of the line?
They're calling...
What are you doing? I'm gonna call Trump for help. You guys want to listen in?
For equipment. They're calling us for testing capacities.
No, they're not.
Now, with the testing, we are going further. Deborah's going to talk about that now. With the testing, we have some other tests coming up that are going to be, I think, phenomenal. I think.
Oh yeah, like hydroxychloroquine phenomenal. They're not going to blind me, are they? If I take this test,
We're going to blow away everything as soon as they come out.
These are the hot new tests. Nobody's going to want that old shit anymore.
And we're going to get them out as soon as possible.
What's that mean? How about a timeline?
But I'd like to ask Dr. Birx to come up and say a few words about where we've come, how far we've come, and more importantly, where we're going from this point. Because honestly, it's quite amazing. Thank you very much.
What the shit was that? Holy smokes.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Maggie Haberman and women everywhere, thanks for grabbing that podium by the vagina. By the way, this is all bullshit about testing.
Part of the metro area as well as part of southern Connecticut. Next slide. But if I take New York out, and the reason I wanted to do that, now the
It's because it makes it look way better if I take New York out of the equation.
axis is 1/10 of the previous axis. So that previous axis, the previous slide, 300,000. This slide, 30,000. So that will give you a frame of reference for some.
Yeah, but move that back to the beginning of the New York slide, where it was 2 weeks before that, and the places of new contagion with no stay-at-home orders. Jesus
other
Christ.
metros. The reason I wanted to show you this is
I want to show you what the tide looked like before the tsunami and right after the earthquake.
this is cumulative cases, and we are still tracking very closely the issues in Chicago and Boston. But on this slide, I hope you can see the yellow line. That is Detroit. And Detroit, and this mayor of Detroit has really done an extraordinary job. And
Really, the people of Michigan, were they liberated from this? Thank you, Emiliana. That's really sweet.
people of Detroit have done an extraordinary job with their.
And thank you, Templeton the Rat and Carl Jacobson and Allie and Eth Limenu, 1975. I'm going to figure out how to pronounce that one. That's an interesting name. There's a story there. Say what? Ellie and Natalie and Susie S. Thank you.
Social
and Christine F.
distancing. The other line I want to call your attention to is the line here. This is New Orleans. And I think, frankly, I was concerned about New Orleans because they had a lot of pre-existing comorbidities.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 or 3 major hospitals, but cover a very large area of geographic area. And that other blue line that you can see that's down right here, that's the Seattle line. And you can see that their response, because of the
Hold on, what?
really
Wait.
never had
Back up.
one of the first states and about New Orleans because they had a lot of pre-existing comorbidities.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 or 3 major hospitals, but cover a very large area of geographic area. And that other blue line that you can.
Yeah, has it worked out? Is it truly leveling out? Or are we not testing so we don't know?
See, that's down right here. That's the Seattle line. And you can see that their response, because of the nursing home alert.
Yeah, she's talking to Trump right now. She's trying to talk him out of his stupid idea.
They were one of the first states and the first.
Yeah, we've seen this.
Next slide. And then this is Detroit. And we always look at the metros as a
confirmed daily cases. Testing has gone down. So you are not confirming the same number of tests, of cases rather.
Validated.
Mm-hmm.
This is both Wayne and Oakland in Michigan.
Hi, Wayne.
And we really want to thank the mayor for the incredible job that they have done to really ensure that everyone is receiving the adequate health care and testing, and they've done quite a good job with testing in Michigan. But all of these states, Louisiana and New York, have tested 30,000 per million inhabitants. Those are some of our highest numbers.
30,000 per million inhabitants?
Our case fatality rate is about half to a third.
Thank you, Joe Carter.
The other countries. And
Does anybody really believe this number?
Oh, the China, slam. Yeah. No one does. Not our problem, though. You know what our problem is? United States.
Do you really believe this number?
I put China on there so you could see how basically unrealistic this could be. When highly developed healthcare delivery systems of the United Kingdom and France and Belgium and Italy and Spain, with extraordinary doctors and nurses and equipment, have case fatality rates in the 20s up to 45, and Belgium is extraordinarily
we know this.
competent healthcare delivery system, and then
We know.
China at 0.33. You realize that these numbers, even then, this includes the doubled number out of Wuhan. And so I want it really to put it in perspective, but I wanted you also to see how great the care has been for every American that has been hospitalized. And how extraordinary.
We should be. We're richer than all these other countries.
Work of our doctors and nurses and our laboratorians on the.
Laboratories. Oh.
That really shows how important.
I'm jumping ahead because
our COVID-like illnesses, and this is.
They're still doing this influenza-like illness bullshit.
All of them.
COVID-like and influenza-like. See that I fixed that in the last day?
Probably.
No, this briefing is not necessary. It's a friggin' campaign ad, and it's a terrible one at that.
Confirmed cases, our hospitalizations are declining. Now, I showed you metros that have made tremendous progress, And we've been up here many times talking about it being 6, 10, 15 additional cities. And now we're really just focused on Chicago and Boston and Massachusetts, and really some issues that Providence is starting to improve now.
What about the CDC people that were sent to South Dakota?
Their relationship to
Just the plant. As long as you cover the plant, you're good.
the two large outbreak
The city and the town around it don't matter.
cities. But this is really reassuring to us of the progress we're making across the country against this disease. And I just really want to conclude by thanking again the American people for making these type of graphics possible. Thank the
Making these type of graphics possible. First of all, these type of graphics are made possible by numbers. Secondly, this is some of the ugliest PowerPoint I've ever seen in my life. If you were trying to convey a message to someone, look at this bullshit.
data team who puts these
There's no baseline except 0. It doesn't extrapolate to show you the number of normal deaths with it and how that overtaxes the system by adding normal deaths on COVID deaths on top of normal deaths. So you have no idea how, look, there's a place, they've got 13 beds and they've only got 11 COVID people. Yeah, but what about the 8 people who are in there from cardiovascular disease and black lung and shit?
together for me. So they are working to
Obviously not in the city of Massachusetts, as she said, but like in the state of Virginia, for example.
3:30 every morning to make sure that we have the most up-to-date information. That's the data that goes to our
What? You're still off.
supply chain individuals to ensure that every hospital in every state and every community has what they need based
They don't.
on data, and to make sure that we're serving the needs of the American people as effectively as possible. Thank you, Mr. President.
Take your stuff. Let me touch that. Okay, wash your hands. And the book.
The fact is that we've been learning a lot from Deborah,
Oh, yeah? What have you learned? Tell us.
Tony, and so many of the professionals,
So many of the professionals. You mean the public servants?
director. PEPFAR, we're spending the United States, without help to the best of my knowledge, mostly in Africa, $6 billion a year.
Yeah. When you look at a $2.2 trillion minimum package and a $6.4 trillion ancillary package just on the first stimulus alone, $6 billion towards infectious disease in Africa to keep it from spreading to the rest of the world, since that's where Ebola comes from, is a drop in the fucking bucket.
And that's on AIDS. What we've done for AIDS in Africa is unbelievable. We spend $6 billion a year.
Yeah. A, to stop AIDS in Africa. B, to stop AIDS.
That's been going on for
Since AIDS.
a long time. Nobody
Yeah? Since when? What was the date? You want to...
knows that. You've never
Like, I don't know if you've heard about AIDS.
heard that.
You've never heard that. Like, we don't know what... That America's been involved with the fight against AIDS in Africa? No, you've never heard that before. 'Cause you didn't give a shit until you wanted to take credit for it.
I've never heard that.
Well, that I believe. There you go. I've never heard that. $6 billion a year.
$6 billion a year. Millions of people are living right now and living very comfortably.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're living very comfortably. As opposed to what? Very uncomfortably dead?
Because of the fact that we have found the answer to that horrible, horrible plague. That was a plague.
Did we find the answer to that horrible, horrible plague? We have treatments. They're still but they're very expensive. And so far, 2 people have been officially completely cured of it. 2. And when did that start showing up? 81? And this disease is 8 months old?
But we spend $6 billion a year.
Yeah. Versus this AIDS wiping out 50 million people in the United States and 100 million in Africa. You don't spend $6 billion in... Why?
And from what
Thank you, Bob.
I hear, it's very well spent.
From what you hear, it's very well spent. You're the president. You wouldn't check?
Done by professionals, including this great professional right here. That was the thing that you worked hardest on, and something that was very close to her heart. So it's...
She was our ambassador for it. Did you just figure out what her job was before? Why she knows something about infectious disease?
You know, it's something that I think people should start hearing.
Why? Because you're in office now and you just found out in 3.5 years into your presidency, you found out we spend $6 billion on AIDS in Africa, and now you want people to start hearing about that so it'll sound like you did it.
The World Health Organization, we're just finding more and more problems, and we spend this money really well. There are other ways we can spend the $500 million. That's $500 million. This is $6 billion.
Oh, I see. So that's more. I don't know. It's math. It's so hard with math when he's so good at such math stuff. So $6 billion for AIDS alone, and we only spend $500 million for every other disease combined at the WHO. The WHO has managed to help push back Ebola and H1N1 with the United States and other European countries, and that only cost us $500 million, and AIDS alone is costing us $6 billion. It's almost like we all got together during the AIDS crisis and decided there should be an organization that deals with this. This is so... Why didn't someone think of this until now?
But we can find other ways to spend it where people are going to be helped.
Golf, hookers, porn stars, payoffs.
We think
Big porn star payoffs, good times.
in a much greater way. We're doing some research on certain people that take a lot of credit for what they do. And the NIH is
National Institute for Health, yeah.
giving away a lot of money.
They're not giving it away. They spend it to stop diseases that could get here.
A lot of money.
Yeah? How much?
We give away for years, for many years.
Oh,
The COVID-19 has taken advantage of the U.S. forever. We've been the sucker for disease forever, and I'm going to put tariffs on the sniffles.
They give away a lot of money.
I am going to make sure that everybody that gets the
And
sniffles
some
is
people
going to pay a tax, and it's going to go to our great farmers.
And some people don't. Some people are extremely happy.
you mean the ones that didn't die of AIDS, who are living comfortably? Very comfortably in some cases.
We're looking into that also.
Are ya?
They're giving away approximately, as I understand it, recently more than $32 billion a year. $32 billion.
Giving away? What do you mean giving away?
And so we've been looking at that for a while, and we're going to be having some statements to be made about that.
You're making a statement about it right now, and it doesn't make any sense. This shit is bananas. Bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-N-A-N-A-N-A-N-A. Yeah, you're nuts. Not bananas. What's happening? This dude is crazy. I'm dead serious. I don't want to... Look, I recognize... I don't want you to think I don't have respect for the presidency, because I do. I do. I have respect for the presidency as an office, as an institution. But this man... not so much.
$32 billion a year. It's a lot of money, and
Yeah, and you have no idea what it's for.
we want to make sure it's being spent wisely, and we've been...
Oh yeah? 3.5 years into your... Oh, you want to take care of it like you took care of the stockpile?
doing that, by the way, and we'll have some statements on that.
Oh yeah? You're making a statement now? Keep making a statement. What statement?
Those
What the shit are you talking about?
much bigger numbers than what we're talking about with national. if you look at with our friends
Yes, speak.
from wherever they come from,
Whoever, the things that we're doing with the people that do the thing with the what?
500 million
Oh, the WHO. Jesus.
is a lot of money, but it's not a lot compared to the kind of money that we give out. I think over the years it's been averaging about $32 billion. 32 billion.
Yeah. Versus doing this shit every year. So spending that money, managing it well, and putting people in charge that actually give a shit about implementing proper strategies to deal with infectious frigging disease, having, I don't know, a pandemic response team, it costs us 50 some odd billion dollars a year, $60 billion a year, versus a $6.4 trillion salvage the economy package every year, every 3 years.
So we've had our eye on that one for a while.
Yeah? How long? You've had your eye on that one for a while? You mean you've been thinking about cutting CDC and NIH funds for a while? Starting when? Day you got in office?
We also talked about the lab in China, where I guess 3.7 million was given some time ago, and we're looking at that very close.
Uh-huh.
The chief of staff has that pretty much under control.
Oh, does he? Was that why he was crying?
But it's much.
Why is the chief of staff in charge of figuring out where, reading a news story for you?
That too bad it got spent there.
Too bad it got spent there. How do we know that it was when that money ran out that it became a problem? How do we know that the money that was spent there actually stopped one of these problems earlier? Do you know? No. 'Cause you dumb, son.
But that was spent, what year was that, Mark? It was 4 or 5 years ago. 6 years ago, approximately.
Uh-huh. And?
So we're looking at that.
Was there, when that money was spent, was there an outbreak? How much money of that did they spend per year on working on things? And then once there wasn't money available for,
And that's the lab that people are talking about.
yeah, what are they saying?
All right, so we're looking at a lot of
All right.
things.
Yeah, we're looking at Maggie Haberman's statements about you.
Tremendous waste in our government. We found.
Yeah, well, it's why you can't button your coat.
In many different ways and in many different forms. And this is one of them. We can spend, I was talking to Dr. Birx, we can spend $500 million, using all of it in a much more efficient manner if we choose to do that. And it'll be to the good of many more people than are getting it right now. But you look at the mistakes that were made, I mean, so late, long after I said we have to close off our country, they were...
No. How many other countries stopped travel out of China into their country before you did? 40. The airlines stopped flying people from China. Delta, United, and American Airlines made that decision before you did. That's a fact. Why wasn't that fact mentioned?
Against our closing off our country to China.
Were they? Or were they recognizing that it was already too late, it was already in the country, and we needed to focus on a different strategy?
When I did that
nobody cared. That's all you were doing, because they viewed it as racist that you thought this would be the solution.
They were against that. They didn't like the idea of closing off our country. They said it was a bad thing to do, actually, and they've since taken that back. But it was a very lucky thing that we did it.
No.
Lucky.
What? No. You did it after 40 other countries did.
We've had numbers that were very significantly greater Tony Fauci said that. He said it would have been very significantly greater had we not done that. So we.
He also said it would have been significantly fewer deaths if you had started mitigation just a week earlier, but you were golfing.
Made a lot of moves that were good moves, but it's
like the golfing,
still a very depressing subject.
Going for the 9-iron versus the 3-wood. You think that's really a good choice? I don't know.
Because
that'd still be grinding on me.
A lot of death, and if it was stopped very early on at the source before it started blowing into these proportions, you have 184 countries that would have been.
You thanked them for their transparency. You thanked President Xi because you were working on your deal.
In a lot better shape.
If you'd have been more honest with them up front, and well.
But our country is getting back, and I expect that we're going to be
getting back very strongly and bigger and strongly and strongly longly.
Better and stronger than ever before. I will take a few questions, Jeff.
Oh, good. Thank Jesus.
Mr. President, you've mentioned, and the doctor had mentioned China a few times today, that clearly suggesting that the data has not been good. And
well, you tell me, do you think that data is good when you see that? Do you think that's...
He's asking the questions. You answer it. Don't make him do the dirty work for you.
Correct, okay. Do you honestly believe that's correct?
Dramatic contrast. So my question for
dramatic?
you...
Yeah, that's dramatic.
So my question for you, sir, is...
Why didn't the press, why didn't you people figure that out, though?
Why didn't you people figure it out while I was texting that China's doing a great job and I trust President Xi and he's being transparent? Why didn't you people figure it out? Guess what? I did.
Why do we have to put up a chart?
No. I was saying this early on. I was saying the numbers are 10 times what they're telling you back in January, back in December. Go back and check my show. The House Parks radio program, Mega Worldwide, Saturdays on WCPT 820. That's right. Go back. Watch the shows in late December during Christmas break. Watch the ones in January where I'm telling you that the death rate is 10 times higher. And if I know that, the intel community knows that. And if the intel community knows that, it's in your presidential daily brief.
The number is impossible. It's an impossible number to hit.
Yeah, we know. But that's not our problem. The United States is.
But why haven't you come up and said that?
They have.
Is China now cooperating with the United States to figure out what happened, and what do you want from them now?
Well, they said they're doing an investigation, So let's see what happens with their investigation, but we're doing investigation.
I trust them to do their investigation.
Also. Yeah, go ahead, please.
You've spoken, we heard Dr. Burks a moment ago say that every country has a responsibility to tell the rest of the world what's going on. You've talked repeatedly about how this could have been stopped in the past. I know you don't want to telegraph what you would do, but do you think that there should be some consequence?
Push against China.
If in the end, China was responsible for all of this?
Well, if they were knowingly responsible, certainly. If it was a mistake.
It was an oopsie.
Mistake is a mistake. But if they
how is a mistake a mistake? What kind of numbers would we be hiding? They just left off a 0 at the end. It's a little mistake. You know what I mean? You're typing 40,000, you leave off a 0 at the end. Could happen to anybody.
Yeah, then there should be consequences.
Or 2. Or 3.
You're talking about, potentially lives like nobody's seen since 1917.
1819, you mean? 1918 and 1919? But go ahead.
And, the other thing, had we not done what we did in terms of closing, because there is that concept of let's let it ride.
That concept of let's let it ride. You mean that you brought up? Look at that look on his face. That you brought... I gotta live with I said that, and everybody's gonna give me shit again.
Oh, God. I wish I was golfing with you, Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump, remember us? We used to hang out so much. We would play and play. You miss me, and I miss you. I miss you. One day we will hang out again, and The CIA will pay for your golf cart. It will be a dream.
But at some point, I'm going to have to. I don't want to embarrass countries that I like and leaders that I like.
You want to embarrass the ones that you don't like? Because you've talked shit about Democrats who have actively worked on bills with, or currently working on bills with Republicans. But the government that slipped a disease into the country that killed 40,000 citizens. All right.
You have to see some of these numbers. In my opinion, so we're talking about maybe 60,000 or so. That's a lot of people, but that's 100,000 was the minimum we thought
Oh my God, we're going over our numbers
we
again.
could get to, and we will be lower than that number.
No, this is full mitigation till the end of May. Deaths through August. We're going to see 100,000 people dead by August from COVID. But he's going to be convinced that anybody that dies after June 1st isn't a COVID death, even if they are. We're at 40K now. And we haven't hit the secondary peaks in the rural areas yet.
Anywhere from 100 to 220,000 people. But I really believe it could have been billions of people had we not done what we did. We made a lot of good decisions, but one of those things. Go ahead.
This was an unknowing situation. Have you
I
ruled
haven't
that
ruled
there's-
out anything.
I don't rule out stuff. I rule everything in, out, up, down. I have a ruler that has two sides on it, one with inches and the other side with bullshit.
Look at the facts as they come in. No, I want to look at the facts, please.
Oh yeah? Do you want to look at the facts?
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Sure.
Last week you claimed that
Maggie Haberman had a lot of facts in her article. Oh.
you're in charge of everything, yet the American people don't understand why you're unwilling to use the awesome powers of your presidency to make American companies manufacture the PPE and also the testing equipment that you
Who
need
you
to
with?
implement your recommendations.
I know, but who are you
on
with?
How to
Who cares who he's with? Answer the question.
TMN recommendations for
TMN, what is
Talk
TMN?
Media News.
The Mexican network, probably Mexicans.
What?
My name is Doug Christian with Talk Media News. Yes.
Talk Media News.
Yeah. And
Go ahead, keep reading your
but,
question.
the thing is how to make companies build these testing equipment so that you can do what you want.
Well, we're
what you
doing that
recommended.
right now. We're doing
We're so doing that. We're using it without using it, and doing without doing. That's the thing. I'm like the Kwai Chang Caine of infectious disease.
We're doing
To knowing that I know nothing is the ultimate knowing. Know what I mean?
it right now with ventilators. We have General Motors. We have General Electric. We have 11 different companies.
Yeah, we don't need vents. We need testing more than anything else. And the companies that are making ventilators aren't the companies he's talking about.
Great companies building them for us all over the United States. We're starting to make our own gowns, as they call it.
Gowns, as they call it. I call them drapes. Deborah has an entirely different phrase from them, you know.
Oh, Deborah says that they're, well, in actuality, they're not gowns at all. Gowns require a certain amount. Gowns actually traditionally include a bow.
We're making some incredible things. And as far as the testing is concerned, most of that now is done in the United States. We're doing it in the United States, our different platforms. And,
Most Americans are tested in America.
so I just don't think you were listening.
I don't think you were listening.
We're complaining to
Which senators?
to Vice President
Which
Pence
senators?
yesterday.
Which senators?
Independent Senator Angus King.
He's not an independent, okay? Angus King is worse than any Democrat. Go ahead.
But he said that he was livid, actually.
Of course he said that. Because he's a Democrat, okay? Angus King is not an independent. He uses that term for whatever reason. It's a waste of time.
A motive type
Oh,
of
yes,
senator.
he is. You haven't seen him.
You haven't seen him be a motive, so you don't know that he's a motive. Meanwhile, look, if Mark Meadows cries because he works for me,
And you haven't seen him. No.
yeah, Slick Chick, the 20 million missing Chinese cell phones, 21 million that went offline. Not all of them are dead Chinese people, by the way. A lot of those numbers were people who work in China, immigrate to China for work, go to school there. It's a huge country, so that there's a vast amount of that number that is those folks. But there's somewhere between 3 and 7 million numbers that's anybody's guess, and that's a huge frigging number.
This king is a Democrat, and that was totally
But Hal, if you manage to come up with an orange turd graphic, I might follow. Don't ask and you shall receive. Hang on.
staged. I heard that, and it was totally staged.
I have. This is my Trump wig. You know, listen.
Just like you read the question, he read his question. Yeah, please.
Answer the question. Why are you not using the power of the presidency to produce tests?
Back.
Mr. President, I want to ask you
What a whiny
about
child.
retweets that you.
Which one?
The one you retweeted from Paul Sperry. Let's see if authorities enforce the social distancing orders for mosques during Ramadan, like they did churches during Easter. I'm
Yeah,
wondering.
no, I would like to see that. And, I just spoke with leaders and people that love mosques. They love mosques.
They love mosques. They're huge. They love the design. I wore a mosque just to the grocery the other day.
And I'm all in favor of that. But I would say that there could be a difference, and we'll have to see what will happen. Because I've seen a great disparity in this country.
Have you? So the idea is that Ramadan, which is this winter, we're going to see if they will be treated differently when there will be treatments online and when Trump will say this is, by the way, completely over, versus Easter, which happened in the middle of the rise in deaths and cases. That about right?
Seen a great disparity. I mean, I've seen a very strong anti-Israel bent in Congress with Democrats. It was unthinkable 7 or 8 or 10 years ago, and now they're into a whole different thing between Omar and AOC. I say AOC plus 3, add them on. You have, I mean, the things that they say about Israel are so bad, and I can't believe it. Now, just let me, so I would be interested to see that, because they go after Christian churches, but they don't tend to go after mosques, and I don't want them to go after mosques, but I do want to see what their bent is. Yes.
Yeah. Look, I want to see if. Okay. Well, the question also is, will we get to have Christmas celebrations and the like, or Halloween, for example, is another good example. Will we get to have that since we didn't get to have Easter, since it was in the middle of the beginning of this pandemic?
Please, in the back.
Mr. President, that in fact,
Go ahead,
that
please.
he's suggesting that imams wouldn't follow social
No,
distancing.
I think that I just had a call with imams. I just had a call with
I called my mom, your mom. I called your mama something.
rabbis. We had a tremendous call with the faith leaders. No, I don't think that at all. I am somebody that believes in faith, and it's
Somebody that believes in faith. Anybody want to take a shot at what that means? I believe in faith. I have faith that most people know that it's 1st and 2nd Corinthians, and it's a series of books in the Bible in succession. That's why 1 and 2 kind of like chapters, not that there were 2 Corinthians
matters not what your
that like roamed the country like Abbott and Costello. Hey, yeah, but
faith is, but our politicians seem to treat different faiths very differently, and they seem to think, and I don't know what happened.
do they? Do they? Do they? Tell me about Republicans treating some faiths differently. Oh, this'll fill me in.
Our country, but the Christian faith is treated much differently than it was, and I think it's treated very unfairly. Yes, please go on.
Uh-huh. Is it fair to claim yourself a Christian and have complete ignorance of the teachings of the principal deity of that religion? Is that fair?
In the back.
I just want to ask though, The
Let's go.
Department of Justice will in fact support.
OAN, please. OAN.
OAN, please. I need a break. Please, OAN.
Mr. President, the Paycheck Protection Program saved an estimated 15 million jobs. You've run out of money. The Democrats, specifically Nancy Pelosi, have been blocking that funding.
Yeah.
Do you know why Speaker Pelosi is dragging her feet on that?
Well,
Is she dragging her feet, or are they trying to make sure that the money is spent wisely and they're not just letting you create a slush fund with no tracking?
she thinks it's politics. I don't think it's good politics.
She thinks it's politics? Why does she think it's politics? What would be the upside for her? Explain to us what the upside would be for her just blocking it to be a dick.
Nancy Pelosi's been blocking it.
Is she blocking it, or are they trying to add things to it, and the Republican Party won't let them?
Schumer's been blocking it, and I think they think it's good politics. I don't.
Why would they think that? Why in the world? Why would they think that? What would make them think?
think it's good politics.
No. Why would it not be good politics? What about it? What is it strategically that they are trying to add, or the Republicans are trying to take out, is the politics of the whole?
I think it's bad politics, but I don't care about the politics.
Oh, that's why you brought it up first?
It's so great for our country because we're going to have all of these companies that are, it's a bigger employer. Let's say it's the same, but essentially it's the same power, all of these small businesses added together as the big companies. It's about 50.
No, it's more than that.
50.
No, because even the big companies rely on the small businesses to sell them. Like franchises, for example.
And it's so important. And they will be scattered if we weren't able to do what we're doing. And essentially, we're giving these small businesses that won't make it, they can't because they're closed. We're giving them money to take care of their employees so when we open, they can get back into business.
Yeah, that was the point of the Democrats' additions to the bill as well. So why would there be a difference right now?
Very popular plan, even with Democrats. I think it basically passed unanimously twice.
Yeah, so if that part passed unanimously, then what would be the hang-up in this particular part? I'm wondering.
First section, which is $350 billion. So we're trying to get 250. Nancy Pelosi is blocking it. She sits in her house in San Francisco, overlooking the ocean, and she doesn't want to come back.
She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to come back.
Doesn't want to come back. She doesn't want.
She doesn't want to. Why doesn't she want to come back? Why isn't Nancy? Why doesn't she want to come back?
Come back to D.C.
Come back to D.C., Nancy. Why aren't you voting?
Why to get back and get this thing?
Yeah, she's got to get it done. What does she got to get done?
It's very important.
Are all the Republicans back in D.C. as well? Are they all waiting for her? Are all the Republican Congress people? They're all in D.C. just sitting there going, "Why isn't she here?
Please. Go ahead.
We're all here. Where'd she go?"
First, if I may, you again praised the American people for doing their bid over.
You gotta slow down, dude. You have an accent, and even though it's a British one, which he prefers, he's gonna be very confused.
Last few weeks. But what goes through your mind when you see photographs
That's good. What goes through your mind? Oh, please continue.
of crowded beaches in Florida? Is that a concern for when you
Well, people, they need to. They've been affected very strongly by the terribly strongly, and the strongly will.
some of these restrictions being lifted?
Well, as I described, we go metro by metro, county
I was asking Burks.
by county, and so I'd have to link that with a specific county and look at their case rates. I believe the governor and the public health system that Florida has, they have some of the best county public health individuals I have ever had to deal with. They are amazing because I had to work with them under HIV/AIDS. So
Yeah, which, by the way, is not airborne.
if the county health,
You'll be seeing a lot of this.
Hold on.
I don't know if that's a
Skipping
county
ahead.
with very small cases or not, but
Why wouldn't you? It's you just talked about how every morning they get up at 3:00 so all their status numbers can be and today it's a lovely scarf. It really truly is. Raleigh it is. Raleigh.
county health official would know.
And many of the counties, as you know, are
Have 0 cases. They have no cases. Not that we're testing or anything.
really free of this horrible.
Are they? Are they really free? How do you know? Tell us how you know that they are really free of this.
Enemy. So we're opening up. You'll be seeing a lot of this country start to open up fairly quickly. Yes, please.
And then close down again really quickly.
President, you mentioned the importance of social distancing, but for example, Stephen Moore, someone you appointed to your Open the Country task force, is organizing a protest in Wisconsin, but aren't they in a sense protesting your very own guidelines?
Well, we have a flexibility. I didn't see what Stephen said. I can tell you he's a very good economist. He's been calling shots right.
He said we need to be the Rosa Parks of government injustices.
Jesus Christ. We need to be the Rosa Parks of government injustices because bars aren't open. Yeah, see, Rosa Parks was dealing with the fact that black people specifically were treated differently than all other people, and this is applied equally to all people. See, because you see how there's might be okay.
Well, there is a lot of injustice. When you look at Virginia, where they want to take your guns away, if they want to violate.
He's not talking about. He's talking about Wisconsin, and you still don't know even the details of what's going on in Virginia. Dummy.
Second Amendment. When you look at, I mean, look, I'm getting along very nicely with the governor of Michigan, but she has things: don't buy paint, don't buy roses, don't buy. I mean, she's got all these.
Don't buy paint, don't buy roses. You mean florists aren't essential services unless they're attached to a mortuary?
Things.
Because there are 5 elements of getting flowers to market and presented and ancillary materials that could be used for food delivery.
I really believe somebody sitting in their boat in a lake should be okay. They shouldn't arrest people.
They don't arrest people for sitting in a boat in a lake.
Some of them are being unreasonable. I really believe that. They're being unreasonable.
Yeah, it's an unreasonable circumstance. Deal with those individually.
I think Virginia's a great case, though, because
nobody's gonna the fines that people are gonna get, they will be able to push back against.
They're using this. They're trying to take your guns away in Virginia. And if people in Virginia aren't careful, that's what's going to happen to them.
Yeah, so, who will shoot you if you don't have a gun in the house while everyone's home sequestered? How will people sheltered in place at home with their domestic abuser survive?
I mean, I could see where he's coming from. I think it's a strong statement, because hopefully this will be over very soon for all of us. But some have gotten carried away. They have absolutely gotten carried away.
Some of these protesters are protesting your social distance.
Yeah. There's a big difference between, I think some of these things go too far, and we're the Rosa Parks of government injustice.
Guidelines?
Jesus.
I mean, I notice there are a lot of protests out there. And I just think that some of the governors have gotten carried away. You know, we have a lot of people that don't have to be told to do what they're doing. They've been really doing everything.
Yeah, this isn't about them. This is about the jackasses who have to be told dozens of times because they are stupid.
Best, and we have a few states where, frankly, I spoke to the governors, and I could have gotten them to do, if I wanted to do what would have been perhaps politically correct. But
what do you mean politically correct? We're talking about public safety, dipshit.
They've been doing incredibly anyway, and as one of them said, everybody's doing exactly the same. In fact, our record is better than states where they're under a mandate or, where they've agreed to do certain things. Now, we have some great states out there. We have incredible people in our country. And for the most part, it's a strong statement, but I understand where he's coming from. And I think one of the greats would be one of the really important places that people really have to start looking at is what's going on in Virginia, because that's a mess with a really a governor that's under siege anyway. Yeah, please.
Under siege. Is he really under siege?
No, with the beautiful.
No. Uh-oh.
Of white hair. Go ahead. I'll tell you if I like his hair in about a minute. After.
He reminds me of Mike Pence. I miss Mike Pence right now. If only Mike Pence were here.
Oh, Mike Pence, the king of milk. Mike Pence. Oh yeah.
That was totally inappropriate. I apologize. It's just every time he says Mike Pence, I can't with the Mike Pence. That's so wrong.
Mike Pence. Pence. Pence.
All right.
Ask the question.
Over the Wall Street Journal. On that point, though, does the tweeting about, in the case of Virginia, linking the Second Amendment to some of these issues about lifting some of these restrictions in these states not potentially pose a concern for the governors and civil unrest and potentially in those cases? I have a second question to you.
Well, I think just for that question, I think that's an easy one. That's not even politics. We're entitled to a Second Amendment, and he's trying to take the Second Amendment. Meaning
no, he's saying it's politics to attach the Second Amendment struggle with the stay-at-home order so people don't die from COVID-19. Dummy.
The state is trying to take the Democrats in that state. The Republicans are fighting it. They're trying to take that Second Amendment right, that Second Amendment right away. To me, that's liberty. That's when I say liberate Virginia, I would say liberate Virginia when that kind of thing happens. And where does it all
really like rise up with guns? You mean liberate?
Stop. So I think it's a very good analogy. Go
What
ahead.
kind of what kind of liberate are we talking? What does liberate sound like? Can somebody ask him what that action looks like, so he can dial it back on stage for all the nutcases who are now buying ammo at his direction?
Sure. I mean, is this the right time to kind of bring in a Second Amendment issue?
I think when they talk about taking your guns away, and if you notice, at the beginning of this pandemic, there were more guns sold, I think, than at almost any time in history.
Why would that be? Because people were afraid of diseased people and lack of food?
So it's obviously a big issue.
Why? So he was just about to explain why people...
And then you have them working and signing documents trying to take your...
What are they actually doing? What's the gun limitation they're trying to put in place? Tell us. Explain it to us.
Your Second Amendment away, essentially. So I do...
Yeah, they're trying to take your Second Amendment away. No one will be able to have guns in America because of Virginia.
I think it's an appropriate time to bring it up. Go ahead, second.
Last week, after kind of an extraordinary slew of events from adversaries, North Korea, Russia, China, and Iran, all kind of pushing back on U.S. policy or toying with U.S. military forces. What's your message to some of these countries who may be trying to take advantage?
I don't see it. No.
I don't see that they're taking advantage. I mean, they're doing what they agreed. You know, they told me on our weekly call what I should expect and what I should disassemble about. And I've agreed to do that, to cover for them.
We had a very good relationship with Russia. We worked on the oil deal together. I was with...
The oil deal together. You mean where you allowed oil companies to put stuff in the strategic reserve to sell later, which is corporate welfare, and because you needed to help Saudi Arabia and Russia work out their economic problems?
By telephone, the King of Saudi Arabia and the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, we worked...
Oh, him, right. I almost forgot who it was. How do you even know this stuff? I wouldn't know who the leader of Russia is. I don't think any of us would. How do you know? It's amazing what the president knows.
Had a deal on oil. That was a very important deal to them and to us and to Saudi Arabia. It was in a deadlock. You know it. You covered it very well. Actually, Wall Street Journal covered that very well. I worked with Putin and with the king on that, and President Putin was a total gentleman, and it was...
Was he? He didn't fart once during the whole call?
Very important to get that...
Really? Am I supposed to believe that? He didn't go, hey, how's Melania? He didn't do that, not once.
And the king...
She's good, right? You need a new one, you let me know. I'll send you a whole new catalog.
Great.
He didn't do that? It would have been rude.
In Mexico, because Mexico was a lone holdout, and they should...
Why? For 100,000 barrels out of 20 million? Why did you have to bring in Mexico? What the fuck difference is 100,000 barrels a day gonna mean in a 20 million barrel a day reduction?
Great flexibility. You know the story. No, I think we're doing fine. Yeah, sure. It's North Korea. I see they're testing short-range missiles. Been doing it a long time.
Yeah, I thought you had to deal with him and you guys fell in love. Where's the love letters? Has he not sent you a love letter about this?
I received a nice note from him recently.
Oh my God, a new note.
It was a nice note. I think we're doing fine.
Here's a note. Dear, it said, I'll read it. I have it. I normally wouldn't show this to you. But, Dear Donnie baby, how's my snuggums? Gonna be testing some missiles over Japan. Get ready for some red phone calls. But nothing to worry about. I won't do anything until Vlad tells me to, and you've moved to the Caymans. Smooches.
Look, if I was
Look.
elected, you would right now be at war with North Korea, okay?
What? Oh yeah? We would? We'd be at war with North Korea.
I'll tell you, for your people that don't understand the world and they don't understand how life works.
No, that's okay. Tell us how life works and the world works. Wow.
If I wasn't elected, you would right now, maybe the war would be over. Hopefully with a victory. But if
we would have, wait a minute. If you hadn't been elected, we would have already beat North Korea in a war.
Remember when I first came in, we didn't have ammunition.
What ammunition are you talking about? We didn't have ammunition. How are we going to shoot North Korea with a gun from Alaska? We're going to just send a bunch of dudes up to Sarah Palin's porch.
Not a good way to fight a war.
We weren't fighting a war, and we wouldn't need ammunition for a fight with North Korea. What? And okay, God damn it.
President Obama left us no ammunition.
No ammunition. Oh, good Lord. This story. The Obama administration was using so many smart guided missiles to kill terrorists that they were running low in the beginning of January 2016. Yeah, 2015. And ordered 1.8 billion more. And when you came into office, they went, we could probably double this because this asshole will give us anything we want. So they told you a story about not having enough. Okay. Didn't have enough bullets.
And he left us virtually no medical and ventilators. He left us the cupboard.
You've been president for 3.5 years.
It was dry.
You bitch.
The cupboard was dry.
The cupboard was dry. It was bare, you mean? It's bare and dry.
No, I think right now you'd be at war, essentially, in some form. Be over, it would be raging with North Korea. If I
based on what? Based on what?
Weren't president. And we're doing just fine with North Korea. Just fine. Let's see how it all ends up.
It's all good.
You know, in the meantime, they said, oh, Trump's given up. And then they said, oh, really, what's he given up? And they said, I don't know. Then they said, he met. Oh, I met. No, I have a good relationship with Kim Jong-un. That's not...
Do you? Do you really? Based on what? The fact that he's testing missiles while we're dealing with a pandemic?
Bad thing to have a good relationship. Obama wanted a relationship. He wouldn't meet with Obama. Wouldn't meet with him. Okay, have a good relationship with him.
Obama didn't want to meet with him.
We met at the line. I stepped over the line. The first time anything like that's ever. It's all good.
It's all good. Now that they've gotten clearance, basically, they're just testing shit all the time.
It's good. But when they say... the stupid people. I call them stupid people.
Oh, okay. You call them the stupid people.
Or the haters. They say, Trump's given up so much. Really? They've actually increased the sanctions. China's been very good on the border. In fact, right now, the border is stone cold closed between...
No, it is not. It is not stone cold closed between China and North Korea. It is the exact opposite. It is the most porous it has ever been.
China and North Korea. Our relationship with China was good until they did this. Once we found out about this, look, we just made a trade deal with China's going to have to buy $250 billion a year in our product. $50 billion from the farmers, $40 to $50 billion from the farmers. The relationship was good when we were signing that, but then all of a sudden you hear about this. So
we didn't all of a sudden hear about this. You were bullshitting during this.
It's a big difference. You know, the question was asked, would you be angry at China? Well, the answer might very well be a very resounding yes, but it depends. Was it a mistake that got out of...
A mistake? Or did they do it to us on purpose? Because I really want to know. Because then maybe we can do something about it, you know? Build up our immune systems. 50 push-ups a day and you never have to deal with women ever again. Or China, I mean China.
Control, or was it done deliberately?
Wow. So that's where we are. Did they hide it from us? Did they not know it was a mistake? Or they hid it on purpose as a bioweapon? I mean, obviously he means that they do it on purpose just to cover their own asses. Crisis.
There's a big difference between those two. In either event, they should have let us go in. You know, we asked to go in very early, and they didn't want us in. I think they were embarrassed. I think they knew it was something bad, and I think they were embarrassed. But, no, I think we're doing very well. Well, so you said Russia?
Are we doing very well? Who else is... Yeah, so you said who? Who else is pushing us? Gee, I don't even know about this stuff. I've been sleeping through those briefings.
You said China. You said North Korea. Iran. When I came in, Iran was a terror. We
No.
had 82 points of fighting. We had 18 points of major confliction. The first week, I said, tell me about Iran. Sir, we have 18 points of confliction, meaning Yemen, Syria, all Iraq. They're going into Iraq all over the place. They're a much different nation right now.
Yeah, they've been hit by the virus too.
Stop that horrible deal, and they want to talk, except that Kerry violated the Logan Act. He made the deal, and he doesn't want them to make a deal because I would have made a deal, in my opinion, except that John Kerry...
I can't make a deal because John Kerry stopped me.
Who made the deal originally, which was a stupid deal to make. Give him $150 billion, gave him...
That was their own money, and it was frozen assets.
$1.8 billion in cash.
Yeah, and it was gaining interest the longer we kept it.
In green, that would be more than this room 10 times.
Yeah, and if we kept it, it would continue to grow.
$100 bills.
They'd been awarded that money internationally. The longer we sat on it, the more it cost us.
Could fill up this room 10 times.
And now it's gone.
With $100 bills.
They've spent it all, and it's gone.
And it's not that small a room. And I say he violated the Logan Act. I think it was a major violation. I think we would have had a deal.
I heard that he violated the Logan Act on Fox and Friends, so I'm going to say that.
It wasn't for John Kerry. But he doesn't want to be, number one, embarrassed. Number two, he said, let's wait till after the election. Maybe Sleepy Joe Biden's going to win. And if Sleepy Joe Biden wins, you'll own the United States. And China will own the United States. China's paid us, from the Wall Street Journal, hundreds of billions of dollars. Is that right? Tariffs. And we gave a lot of that money, a small percentage, but a lot of money to the farmers.
Small percentage. Interesting.
Kept the farmers going great.
Uh-huh. Yeah, socialism.
Right? But hundreds, we're getting tens of billions of dollars in tariffs. And by the way, for those of you that...
Technically, it's not socialism because we don't own the farms. It's just welfare. But,
we're paying. China devalued their currency in order to pay these. We didn't pay. China paid. They don't like to write that. They also added money into their system, so they paid for that. No, I think you have numerous countries...
So it didn't cost them anything, is what you're saying?
Waiting to see whether or not Sleepy Joe wins, because if Sleepy Joe won, they own our country. They will take our country.
You mean like Putin owns our country? Or you mean like if Joe Biden was president, we would have intervened with Russia and Saudi Arabia to fix oil prices for the benefit of Russia and Saudi Arabia? Oh my God, we have to stop that from happening.
We had, go back 2 months, we had by far, and
the greatest economy in the history of the Baba.
China was supposed to catch us. You know better than anybody, Wall Street Journal. For years I've heard, by 2019, China will catch us. There's only one problem. Trump got elected in 2016.
No, there's a big problem is that a lot of the Chinese economy is phony.
It was a big difference. and we were going leaps and bounds above China. And before the problem with the plague, right? China was having the worst year they've had in 67 years. That was before the plague.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're getting really hurt, and so
Right. So you want credit for how China mismanaged their own economy now.
everybody getting hurt. I don't want them to get hurt, but they're all getting hurt. Everybody's getting hurt. It's a horrible thing that's happened. But we had the greatest economy in the world by far. China isn't even close. Go back 2 months. And we're going to keep it that way.
Go back 2 months.
But when you mention Iran, Iran is a much different country than it was. When I first came in, Iran was going to take over the entire Middle East.
No, that wasn't the case.
Right now, they just want to survive. They're having protests every week. They're loaded up with
Yeah, because their citizens are dying.
the plague, which I don't want. I've offered to help them
By the way, you're having protests every week. Your supporters are protesting the stay-at-home orders.
if they want. If they need ventilators, which they do, I would send them ventilators. We have thousands of excess ventilators coming
I've
in.
heard that.
And
I've heard that 80% of the people who go on ventilators die. So I thought we should bomb them with ventilators.
here, we have a stockpile of ventilators, and we're starting to send them so that hospitals can fill up their stockpile, which they should have. New York had a chance to get
Oh my God.
60,000 ventilators, and they chose not to do it.
Yeah, and they didn't ultimately need them. They got them from other states.
And I understand that. It's a hard decision for a thing that may or may not happen. I fully understand that. I'm not even complaining about that.
Yes, you are.
I'm only saying this. Iran was a terror when I came into office.
No, you had a fantasy that they were worse than they were. Your followers were freaked out by them. This has nothing to do with the reality of it. Oh, this is almost over. Thank God. He's going to walk out.
No, they don't want to mess around with us.
No.
They don't want to mess around with us. Two things. North Korea,
They don't want to mess around with us. Do you think terrorism has gone down during
some
this?
sanctions we've always had, except more. We haven't given anything. I think you'll hopefully take that back to the Wall Street Journal because they really don't understand it. They really don't. And with Iran, I mean, that's a different country right now. And they want to make a deal. The only reason they don't, they're being shamed in because the guy that gave them the sweetheart didn't want to met with them many times. He should have never met with them. And in my opinion, he's telling them, don't wait. Maybe Trump will lose, and then you can negotiate with a patsy, with a weak guy, and you'll take over between you and Russia. Nobody's been tougher on Putin. He knows it better than anybody. Nobody's been tougher on Putin than me.
I signed the veto-proof pieces of legislation that caused the sanctions. I only withheld them for a little while as long as I could and excluded members of the oligarchy so they could shovel money out or whatever. But nobody's been harder on him than me.
Look at the sanctions. Look at what I did with their pipeline going into Europe. Nobody even knew about it. I exposed it.
Nobody
Now
knew
everybody
about it.
talks about it. I think it's a terrible thing for Germany to do. But at the same time, I have a very good relationship
It's a terrible thing for Germany to do.
with Putin. And I was able to make a deal
Okay, with Saudi Arabia, right, on oil?
with Russia and Saudi Arabia.
To fix the price of oil to keep it from going down, so God forbid the American public would have gas prices like they did in the 50s?
And OPEC Plus. They call it OPEC Plus. That's
Do they? Why do they call it
going
that?
to save us, Texas, North Dakota, Oklahoma, other states, energy states, going to save us hundreds of thousands of jobs. And in fact, your paper wrote an incredible editorial for a change that Trump made a great deal for our country. That was a nice thing. I was shocked to see it coming out of the Wall
Rupert Murdoch owns the Wall Street Journal.
Street Journal. Thank you all very much. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Jesus, what an exit.
How many asymptomatic people have been tested? Is it possible?
Yeah, no questions. This was a COVID-19. Can I remind you? This was members of the coronavirus task force hold a briefing.
Look, the important thing is Mr. Trump needs to do what he does best. And if you don't understand, that's your problem, okay? Not mine. Actually, he hasn't golfed in months, so that has a lot to do with the possibility that, look, I'm just saying the guy is batshit crazy. Sorry. Some of them I didn't get to use today, so I've got extra ones. I do think this is a really good Trump. So the important thing is, this might be, if I can say, so good. Wall Street Journal wrote something about me. Amazing. So good. And I'm fairly certain that's the one that works the best for him. Want to see something weird though? Watch this. Is that weird or what? It's pretty weird. I love the effects. Thank you. Oh, thanks. I'm working on it piece by piece. Now let's hear a Middle Eastern accent. I wish to do this, Habub, coming through the listen. Indeed, they've hired every digger in Cairo. They hire strongbacks and they pay slave wages. There is not one brain among them. What's his name? He's a Frenchman. Very clever. They call him Beloche. Belloc. I am the monarch of the sea. I am the ruler of the... Right. Thank you. Thanks for the silly... thanks, Christina. You wait. Once I can mix sound effects with those... Ha-ha! Whoa-ho-ho! Wah-ha! Then we're going to talk. Then it's good time. Then... There are lots of effects. I picked only the good ones because some of them don't make sense. This one I like a lot, but I don't know what I'm going to use it for. This is just in case, like, Murphy, where are you? Murphy, where's Murphy? Yeah, that one I like, but I don't know how to use it in here. I really don't. It's a cam mod. It's a snap cam. Yeah. So, thank you, Joe Carter. That's awesome. Yeah, we have to get out and vote. Vote.org, folks. Vote.org. Make sure you're registered. Make sure you vote. What I would recommend is, if your state allows vote by mail, sign up for it. And then if you want to vote on the day, just hand deliver your ballot. Because that's a lot of fun. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to sign off and go back to work. I want to put the other camera on this, although this turned out pretty good. So I might just take a little tweaking. Fingers crossed. Yeah. And buy some stamps. That's a great idea. And thank you guys so much for the hearts and the super hearts in the chat. And thanks for the trolls for showing up and giving me those wonderful metrics that add to my popularity. That's right. Thank you, trolls, for gacking up the thing. We can just ignore you as your ridiculous statements roll by. But the robots that run the internet, they notice and they go, wow, they must he must be impressive. So there you go. Yeah. And yes, I will work on Periscope moderators. I don't know how to assign that, though, at this point. All I have the ability to do in there currently is to report people. I'm not sure what that is. So, there we go. I will work... Yeah, it's the Russians. Clearly. Yeah. By the way, the majority of what we heard tonight, and obviously I skipped over the bullshit charts from Birx. We didn't hear from Fauci again. He's been shortened down to these like little 1-minute statements, and that's it. Just assign them in the app. I see, because I'm trying to do it online on the browser. That might be the deal. I see. Hold on. Hold the phone. Wait a second. This might be sweet. If I could do that. Yeah.
Download. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I can't. It's not showing up in there. That's what it is. Let me know if you can make that work. Oh, I absolutely will, Carl. Log in using Twitter. That works fine. Authorize app. We're fine. Thank you very much. I don't want to go to... No, I don't need this. Let's see. Don't want to... I'm not connecting to Facebook. Are you high? Why would I do something so awful? I'm not going to go live on there. I'm already live. Do you not understand? Okay, and then we click on here. Does it let me know? Well, look. Yeah, trolls can be entertaining. This is true. You got to turn that down. You need to know the nicks of who you want to... Oh, I see. The nicks, the nicknames. I see. Well, there's Slick Chick. View profile. Right. Cancel. Damn it. I'll figure it out. If I hold that and see what happens. I'm gonna have to look into this, kids. I'll figure out how to add this thing, so because I don't think it recognizes that it's my broadcast right now or something. So let me work on that. That's it. Is Periscope the app for your phone? Yes, it's also on iPad. It's the exact same one. It's just scale. So I will work on that. That's definitely part of it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you, Templeton Zaret. Carl Jacobson, thank you so much. Allie, thanks for the follow. And if I'm going to figure that out eventually. For the follow and say what. And Ellie and Natalie and Susie S. and Christina F. Thank you so much. And I will talk to you guys later on. I'm going to be working on this and chipping away at it. Fingers crossed we can add kind of more silliness. Yes, Richard Custer. Patreons, Ashemha. All right. Take care, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace and be wild, and don't take any guff. And I'm going to go fix some dinner for everybody, and we'll figure it out and get some sleep because I got very little last night. But that's now I'm bragging. All right. And thanks. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and a like. The notification bell will help you, will let you know when I go live since they move these things around. I'm doing a show at 7 o'clock for Flappers, and the One World concert is going on, so enjoy that and or both. I think the Flappers thing is just a short set, though, but I'll be doing another hour for them coming up as well. So, yeah, the notification did not work today. I'm going to have to work on that. I'll figure it out. I think it might be the way studio is set up over there. I'm nailing stuff down, but I'm chipping away each part of this. We didn't get any audio drift this time, so little bits, and I've got to figure out how to update the thing on my microphone so I can get back to working like a professional. So yeah, and I'm glad this works because I'll add this is as a special aspect as well, and you guys are fantastic, and that's all you need because I'm going to start talking shop, and then we'll be here all night. It is Houseparks 24/7. I'm just rolling around your internet all the time. Thank you, Joe Carter. Thank you, Josephine. And hey, I'll take Sunday off. Hey, if they have a stream, I'm going to do it. So that's the the reality. So you guys are awesome. Be well. Thanks so much. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.